Vicksburg National Military Park. Vicksburg National Military Park serves as a memorial for the American Civil War's Battle of Vicksburg. Fought in mid-1863, the Battle of Vicksburg took place on a 20-mile parcel of land that is lined with trenches to this day. The 47-day siege that took place at Vicksburg ended up claiming close to 5,000 lives. Today, Vicksburg National Military Park features 1,325 historical markers and monuments, a 12.5-mile walking trail, 144 cannons, a restored gunboat, USS Cairo, and Vicksburg National Cemetery, which contains the remains of nearly 20,000 people. Upwards of 12,000 of the people buried at the site are unidentified.
Number 2, Elvis Presley's Birthplace and Museum. The quiet Mississippi town of Tupelo is the birthplace of Elvis Presley, one of the most iconic musicians of all time. Presley was born in January 1935 in a two-room home that was built by his relatives. When Elvis was a child, his family struggled financially, and they moved several times to find work during their 13-year stint in Mississippi. Elvis Presley attended church in Tupelo, playing shows there for locals, and made his first radio broadcast in the Mississippi town. Today, visitors can choose from several Elvis-themed tours that provide a glimpse into Presley's childhood.
Number 3, Rocklin Blues Museum. The Rocklin Blues Museum seeks to preserve Mississippi's blues music history. Housed in the historic Clarksdale Freight Depot, the museum features 7,000 square feet of exhibit space. There are both a permanent and traveling exhibits that detail the lives of famous blues stars like John Lee Hooker and Don Nix and other iconic artists such as photographer Joseph Rosen and illustrator Tony Mostrom. There are photographic exhibits along with artifacts with infamous blues events. The remains of the musician Buddy Waters' cabin are housed in this gallery.
Number 4, Tupelo Automobile Museum. The Tupelo Automobile Museum boasts an extensive collection of rare antique vehicles. The 120,000 square foot museum houses over 100 classic and collectible automobiles. During a self-guided tour, visitors can see an 1886 Mercedes-Benz Lincoln that was once owned by Elvis Presley, a rare Tucker vehicle, and a 1994 Dodge Viper that has never been driven. And all the museum's cars collection is worth more than $6 million. In addition to historic vehicles, the museum also contains a wealth of information about car engineering and manufacturing throughout history.
Number 5, Mississippi Museum of Natural Science. The Mississippi Museum of Natural Science is located inside the Bluff State Park. The museum grounds feature 300 acres of open space, an open-air amphitheater, and 2.5 miles of hiking trails. Inside the museum, visitors will find more than 200 species of aquatic animals living in the 100,000-gallon tank. There are also extensive displays detailing Mississippi's unique natural habitat. The Mississippi Museum of Natural History boasts a greenhouse, a large wall of fossil specimens, and a natural science discovery room for preschool-age children.
Number 6, Hattiesburg Zoo. The Hattiesburg Zoo is a fun destination for the entire family. The zoo is home to the Asbury Discovery Center, an exploratorium that allows visitors to get a close look at more than 30 of the animals that live at Hattiesburg Zoo. The Discovery Center is filled with whimsical furniture and interesting exhibits. The sloth experience is another popular attraction at Hattiesburg Zoo. The 45-minute tour includes an up-close encounter with the sloths, an opportunity to feed sloths, and a behind-the-scenes look at the animal kitchen. Hattiesburg Zoo also boasts a high rope adventure course that is popular with kids of all ages.
Number 7, Natchez Trace Parkway. The Natchez Trace Parkway follows a route once used by Native Americans stretching for 444 miles from Natchez, Mississippi through Alabama to Nashville, Tennessee. It is a popular scenic route for sightseeing with plenty of things to do and see along the way. Among the most popular tourist attractions are numerous prehistoric mounds and archaeological sites, scenic lookouts, and historic points of interest like Tupelo and Bryce's Crossroads battlefields. The parkway is also designated for a bicycle route with incredible views and photo opportunities.
Number 8, Mississippi Petrified Forest. The Mississippi Petrified Forest is a unique opportunity to see the enormous remains of what was once a massive forest, now turned to stone with time. Nature trails give visitors a chance to explore and see these specimens firsthand, while the Earth Science Museum has exhibits that explain the science behind how this came to be. The museum also includes examples of the evolution of plants over time, as well as other types of fossils, including whale bones, dinosaur footprints, and a cast of the fossil of a prehistoric camel. Kids will enjoy getting their photo taken on Caveman's Bench and sifting for treasure in the gem mining flume.
Number 9 is one of my favorites. Number 9 is the birthplace of Kermit the Frog, which is in the small town of Leland, Mississippi. There's a Muppet Museum which honors the roots of Jim Henson's most beloved creation. Born in 1936 in nearby Greenville, Mississippi, famed visionary and puppeteer Jim Henson grew up and played among the swamplands of Leland. The small town has now proclaimed itself the birthplace of his most famous creation, with a permanent exhibit devoted to the man and Kermit the Frog. Installed across 2 rooms in the Leland Chamber of Commerce, the small museum holds puppets and memorabilia that honor Jim Henson's creation of Kermit the Frog. In Leland, Henson spent his childhood playing among the local flora and fauna, which included playing with frogs. He eventually made acquaintances with his boyhood friend Kermit Scott, who the character of Kermit the Frog is based on.
Number 10, the Mississippi River Basin Model. The Mississippi River Basin Model is located in Jackson, Mississippi, built by prisoners of war. It's the largest small-scale model ever built, and it includes 8 miles of tiny streams that now sit abandoned. In the 1940s, before computers were up to the task and engineers needed to model a complex system, they would model it by building amazingly elaborate scale models. While the Army Corps of Engineers built many such models over the last century, none were on the scale of the Mississippi River Basin Model. It is the largest small-scale model ever built, representing 41% of the U.S. in miniature and the more than 15,000 miles of rivers that make up the Mississippi River Basin, laid out in 8 miles worth of tiny, winding streams on 200 acres of park land. Today it sits abandoned and overgrown. By the early 1970s, the push towards computer modeling had begun, and by the 1980s, the model simply became a burden for the Army Corps. In 1990, the site was transferred to the city of Jackson, but was too expensive for them to maintain, so the city simply abandoned it. Listed on the Mississippi Heritage Trust's 10 most endangered list in 2000, today the model sits surrounded and hidden by overgrown woods in the Buddy Butt Parks. It is open to the public to visit, but the tiny concrete banks of the rivers are now overgrown with life-size foliage.
Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button or click on the frog icon on the video. Don't forget to click the bell to get notified of our future videos. And of course, please click on the thumbs up.
And remember, stay young and have fun.